What's up, everybody? Yesterday we talked about the new KGM-40 assault rifle. I'll have that video linked down below if you'd like to check that out. Today we're talking about the Whitley LMG that also comes in the battle pass. And just like the KGM-40, I am disappointed. The TTK is better than the KGM-40. In fact, it's actually a decent amount better. But unlike the KGM-40, this gun has a lot of visual recoil, at least. The actual recoil patterns are kind of a lot, but what's worse is it has that visual recoil that we've come to know to be associated with Vanguard guns, and that was really a problem towards the beginning, and they fixed it on most of the guns. Well, now it's a problem again. On top of the usual, whenever they have a new gun, it doesn't load right. As you can see, my stock is through my shoulder and not attached to the gun. So the gun sucks. The gun's not integrated in the game very well, but we'll go ahead. I'll show you the numbers. I'll show you quick numbers on true game data of why it's not very good, and then I'll give you a loadout if you want to try it yourself. So let's jump over to true game data, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so now we're over on true game data, and I just have it compared to the most comparable gun, and that's the Bren. It's the LMG from Vanguard that everybody's been using. As you can see, they have very similar TTKs. At the beginning, they're almost identical. Then the Whitley gets a few milliseconds on it, and then once the damage drop-off hits, they're fairly identical. And then they stay pretty identical. The Bren also drops off further away for its first damage drop off, and this is for chest shots. If you look at headshots, the Whitley actually beats out the Bren, but the Bren has no damage drop off, so eventually the Bren takes over and kills the Whitley. But you can hit headshots way easier with Bren than a Whitley. The Whitley's recoil is awful. If you want to see gameplay, I'm gonna upload a TikTok on this, and I'll have some clips in the background. And then you look at neck. And the Bren blows away the Whitley. So once you get, past 30 meters, I think it was. Once you get past 33 meters, the Bren blows away the Whitley at head shots. At every distance, it blows away the Whitley at neck shots. So if you're hitting your most important shots, you're going to win with the Bren because the Whitley's so hard to hit shots. Chest we already looked at, pretty much identical, so it comes down to just hitting or missing shots. Bren's a lot easier to shoot with. Stomach, same thing, but once the Whitley drops off, it drops off super hard. Upper arm, and we're not going to look at legs because arm and leg is just about the same. Same thing, once the Whitley drops off, it drops off super hard. And then lower arm, that's upper arm again. Lower arm, same thing. So at range where you're going to use this gun, they're either very equal once you get outside of 15 meters where you're going to stop using your SMG. And then once you get to 30 to 35 meters, the Bren starts really pulling away from the Whitley. And the Whitley has way more visual recoil and definitely has a stronger physical recoil as well. So it's really not worth it over the Bren. If you want to run a Vanguard LMG, I would keep running the Bren. But if you want to run the Whitley, let's go back over to Warzone and I'll show you the loadout that I've been running. Okay, and as usual, I don't know if this is the best build. This is the build that I've been running. This is pretty much aligned with the meta outside of, which barrel or stock is the best. But this is pretty much lined up with the meta. You don't have to have it fully leveled to have this build. I only have mine 64, and you can get away with only being level 63, which you need for the polymer grip. But we're going to run the MX silencer like usual for the vertical, horizontal recoil control, along with sound suppression. You can run the mercury silencer, but it kills your damage range and doesn't give you vertical recoil control, and you need the recoil control. I'd rather lose ADS on this gun. Then you end up with the Gracie MK9 barrel. It's the first barrel. It gives you recoil control and bullet velocity and reduces scope sway and gun bob. Hurts your ADS movement speed and sprint fire speed. But the Shrouded hurts your damage range, recoil control, and velocity. The Ragdoll hurts all your movement speed, and it helps bullet velocity and range, but doesn't help your recoil, which you need. And the Gracie Rapid hurts bullet velocity, aim down, sight speed, and damage. While giving you a better fire rate, it does hurt your damage. And it only helps on initial firing recoil, not overall recoil. So, you go with the Gracie MK9. Under barrel, you can go Carver foregrip, which is what I would recommend. You can go 1941 hand stop for the recoil control, but it just doesn't do quite as much recoil control as Carver foregrip. And with the amount of recoil, like I said, with the MX silencer, I will take more recoil control and slower ADS. Magazine, I'd either stick with the stock mags, or I would go to the 45 mag just for reload quickness. You can try out the BMG rounds, but I don't think they are very good. They just make the gun bounce too much for me, being the larger caliber. And if you're not hitting your shots, then it doesn't really matter how strong they are. And the 303, The 303 I think is okay. You can try the 303 for less recoil. It feels pretty similar TTK wise to the stock rounds. But I would stick with the stock round so you don't hurt your bullet velocity, your bullet penetration, or your damage, or your damage range. So I would stick with either stock mag or go 45 round mag, which I just like for the reload quickness, being an LMG. And then lengthen. They nerfed lengthen, but for long range, you're not really going to go with anything else. Optic is kind of your choice. I know people would recommend either the G16 2.5 times or the 3 to 6 times, which is what I've been using. Rear grip's got to be the polymer grip for the accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. It's the best grip for controlling recoil at range because you're always going to be in sustained fire. As far as stocks, so it's kind of between the the Gracie EM3 because it gives you initial firing recoil, but it hurts your sustained recoil. You're not going to go Cooper adjustable. It doesn't help your recoil at all. The Gracie EK8 doesn't help your recoil at all. The CGC R4 helps recoil control. I'm not sure what recoil recovery is. Maybe that's just how it helps you pull down the gun and helps your movement speed and helps your accuracy, even though we don't bloom anymore. Like I said, I will take recoil control over ADS on this weapon. And then the CGC R2 padded helps aiming stability and increase mount bonuses and flinch resistance, but it hurts your aim down sight speed and doesn't give you overall recoil control. So then it becomes between the R4 stock and the EM3. Well, the R4 stock is the only one that really helps recoil control. Then perks, I don't remember what the last two perks are, but it was like Frenzy, and I don't remember what the other one was, but it wasn't something that's going to help you at range. Hard scope helps with recoil control after you've been aiming down sights for a short time. So after you've been aiming down sights for a short time, it gives you more recoil control, which is what happens when you're shooting people at range. You don't on ADS until you're done shooting or reloading. If you haven't finished level the gun, obviously run surplus, but otherwise it's the usual fully loaded that people recommend on these long range guns. So that's kind of the build. You can play with it. I really think the only thing you can really play with is try the 1941 hand stop if you don't feel like it has that much recoil, or maybe try a different optic. But everything else is built for helping recoil as much as possible, which this gun desperately needs if you want to run it. So as usual, thank you for watching. I appreciate if you watch this whole video. If you just skipped ahead for the loadout, whatever you watch, I appreciate any watch time. Any interaction always helps small creators. So please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload again. I am trying to get back into uploading more. But as usual, I will have true game data linked down below, as well as all of my social media. So please feel free to visit any of those. And I will see you on Caldera and Rebirth Island. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.